Welcome to this video on privileged access management. As organizations rely more and more on technology, it's crucial to ensure that only authorized users have access to sensitive data and resources. So, what exactly is privileged access management, and how can we implement it to protect our data? Privileged access management, or PAM, is the practice of controlling and monitoring access to sensitive information and systems. This includes granting and revoking access privileges to users, as well as monitoring and auditing activity to detect and respond to any unauthorized access attempts. One example of PAM in action is the use of role-based access controls, which allows administrators to assign specific access privileges to users based on their role within the organization. For example, a system administrator would have different access privileges than a regular user, and would be able to perform actions such as installing software, configuring network settings, or viewing system logs. From a technical standpoint, implementing privileged access management can be accomplished through a variety of methods. One example is the use of multi-factor authentication, MFA, for privileged users, which add extra layer of security to access to sensitive data. This can include a combination of something you know, such as a password, and something you have, such as a security token. Additionally, it's possible to use privileged access management software, which allows administrators to manage and control access privileges for different users and systems. However, it's important to keep in mind that privileged access management is not just a one-time implementation, it's an ongoing process. It's important to regularly review and update access privileges, and to have monitoring and auditing in place to detect and respond to any unauthorized access attempts. It's also important to be aware of potential attacks that can exploit privileged access. One example is an attacker using a stolen privileged account credentials to gain unauthorized access to sensitive information or systems. To mitigate this, it's important to have strong password policies, regularly review and rotate privileged account credentials, and to use MFA. It's also a good idea to implement a least privilege model, where users have only the minimum level of access required to perform their job responsibilities. As you learn about privileged access management, it's important to remember that the context of the system and the users can play a big role in determining access privileges. For example, the access controls of a public-facing website should be different than that of an internal database. Another key aspect of privileged access management is emergency access. This is a mechanism to provide temporary privileged access to a user or group of users in case of critical incident. It's vital that these access controls be granted and revoked in a controlled manner to avoid exploitation by malicious actors. It's also important to note that privileged access management is an important aspect of compliance with various regulations such as SAMA, Aramco, and other NCA regulations. It's important to have specific policies and controls in place to ensure the protection of sensitive data. We have also to remember that automation can play a big role in privileged access management. It can save time and increase security by reducing human error and quickly responding to any potential threats. A good security culture is also crucial in implementing PAM. This includes employee education and awareness, and clear communication of policies and procedures related to access control. It's important that everyone within the organization understands the importance of privileged access management and how to protect sensitive data. Another important thing to remember is that privileged access management can be a target of cyber attackers, so it's important to be aware of potential threats, such as stolen credentials, phishing attacks, or malicious insiders, and how to mitigate them. You can use techniques such as multi-factor authentication, regular reviews and rotations of privileged account credentials, and least privilege model. By understanding these scenarios, it will help you and your organization to protect your sensitive information. In conclusion, privileged access management is a critical aspect of protecting sensitive information and systems. By controlling and monitoring access privileges, regularly reviewing and updating access controls, and being aware of potential threats, we can ensure that only authorized users have access to sensitive data and resources.